amongst the supporters and the political parties. Let's go back and see what's happened so far.
Well, thanks so much, Leanne, and indeed we have managed to do that. So what we're going to do now is that we are going to go to the audience here to get their questions for the panel, and it's going to be short, sharp, to the point, and so will the responses be as well. And please, if we can just try to keep it orderly, listen to one another. Let's go, sir. You're up first.
Good morning. My name is Neil Williams, born and bred in Hout Bay. I've listened to all politicians sitting in front. And one of the issues that I want to raise is the fact of jobs. It seems that none of you have studied this place before coming here, because you've touched a lot of things, but there's a lot of stuff you haven't even touched. Like 2010, they've tried to evict us from this mountain, the DA. 2009 as well. Even Mandela was part of the people that wanted to buy this mountain, while we are still living on it. So the ANC is also not in the good books. So the thing is this, my main question is that you've come here with one agenda, all of you, that's political. You have overlooked the people of Hout Bay, and that's one of your mistakes. That shows your agenda, point number one. The guy from the DA, he comes here, he boasts about the poor this and the poor that, and housing this and housing that. Do you know how many people here right now, even in this place today, standing here with eviction letters from you for building on their own land? You can't deliver housing, but when we look after ourselves, you want to evict us. And another thing is this, when you build, you know, the homeless people of South Africa, most homeless people are the so-called colored people, the Khoi people, because even the houses we live in, it don't belong to us, because every time you build flats for us, we must pay rent in our own country. Look at the injustice of Hout Bay. My people, my mother can tell you stories of how they were evicted from Valley Road, where you get houses worth 5-6 million today. There's people here that can tell you stories of how it was heaven to live there. You can't go hungry. Fruit was growing everywhere. You live along the river. Whites come, they chase us away with the promise of water and electricity. So now today, I want to finish off. Now today, they say we've got a new government. Everything will be restored. But still you see people living off what Jan van Riebeeck took from us. You see, still like this is the only man that spoke right and that man there. None of you... I'm not going to speak against Christian people, but even we've put our faith in Jesus for thousands of years. Jesus has never come down and made anything right. You see, I'm going to bring a speech to you of my God, who he taught me that your brother is your God. Like Psalm 82 says. Read Psalm 82, you see, and then you will see that everyone next to you, if you can pray to your Jesus now, your leg is broken, he's not going to heal it, your brother must take you to hospital. So we must have faith in each other.
Okay,
stop racism. You see,
Mr. Williams,
stop the evictions.
I want to get an answer for you.
Another question, how many of you know about the interdict on us?
Okay.
Have you ever heard of an interdict on the community? There's an interdict on this whole community here from the DA. When are you going to alleviate us from this interdict?
Let's get an answer. Mr. Madikizela? Mr. Madikizela?
Okay, let me deal with the historic issue of the evictions.
Okay.
Sakina, we are a country with laws that must be respected. And we are a government of due processes. Now, we accept the fact that we have a challenge when it comes to housing. But what it cannot be acceptable is for people to just invade land anywhere. We need proper planning for us to build houses so that we can address the issue of housing challenge in the Western Cape, which is a national issue, by the way. So the eviction that he's talking about is that it's people who are building houses in an area that is very dangerous even for them. Because in that area, when there's a fire that is breaking out, you must be able to get water underground and be able to put that fire out. So when people are building on top of that area, you've got to make sure that you clear it. That is the issue that he's talking about. But by and large, when it comes to housing, we accept that it is a national challenge, but I addressed this issue earlier, that already, if you look at Hout Bay, there are, rental accommodation that has been built. 2 sites are already, being planned as we speak. In Imizamo to 4 sites. I mean, we are busy planning housing there already as we speak, working with those communities. So a lot is being done to address the challenge, but the reality is that we will never have enough resources to build a house for everyone who needs it. But we are attending to the issues that I am talking about.
Let's hear more from the community.
Morning, everybody.
Okay, sir. There's someone at the mic. Continue.
I'm a resident of this community here in Hout Bay, and I want to tell you that I think this community has listened to the DA for long enough. So my question is to everybody else that is with him, because the DA has given back 1.7 billion for housing. It shows us you're not interested in housing the poor. The DA has placed an interdict on this community by way of a peace accord that strangles our community. The government that runs the Western Cape and national government as well has strangled our fishermen. That's the lifeblood of this community, and turned our sons and our brothers and our fathers into poachers. And what you do to them when they go out to earn a living for their families, you shoot them dead on the water like what happened to Durik van Blair. So we're done listening to people that have come here to lie for us. I want to ask the rest of you, how stupid do you think this community is to believe every person that comes here in an election year and promises us the world, but for 13 years you failed to house people that have fought governments that didn't want to house us, and are now today, 13 years later, still living without water and electricity, raising children with suris running through the front doors and running next to their houses. When do you think we're going to stop taking the law into our own hands? Because like Neil said before me, the DA government has forced our community into building for ourselves. They forced us into doing things to house ourselves. And what we get in return is you come in here with public order police and you shoot us. You raid our homes and shoot through the wooden walls, where you shoot the people on the inside. You arrest our people. You hurt our women. You hurt our children. So we're done listening to you. We want to hear which one of you is going to convince us that you're going to do better.
Okay. Let me put this to different panelists. UTM, you take a stab at that, and then I'll take EFF and I'll take ANC, and we'll come back on some of the other questions for others.
Okay, thank you, Carolina. I'm very glad that the community of Hout Bay is raising up these issues itself. I think the minister is being disingenuous with us. When they attacked the people of Hout Bay, they told them that but they had moved beyond the fire line because the community of Hout Bay was growing. They moved beyond the high fire line. And we asked one question: why can't the fire line be extended like in other areas in front of us, the rich areas? And then they said, but no, that can't be done. And they brought police at 2 o'clock, the apartheid style. Within 5 years after that, Sol Kesner built a complex there on the land that was supposed to be a table protected land, and the fire lines on that area were extended all of a sudden. So the problem is
that true,
there is this elitism. This elitism whereby the poor are being disgruntled and nobody cares for them, and then the rich can do whatever they like as long as they pay.
No.
Is that true?
That's not true. And again, it must be clearly distinguished that the land that the people are talking about belong to Sand Parks. Doesn't belong to the city or the government. But it is not true that the standards were changed when it comes to the development that he's talking about. It is incumbent, no, it is not true. It is incumbent upon us, Sakina, to make sure that at a certain level, people don't build houses, because you've got to make sure that when there's fire, as I said earlier, you are able to put out fires.
Okay, but does that only apply to the poor and the indigent, or does that apply to everybody?
It applies to everyone, not only to the poor.
All right, not according to the community. EFF?
Thank you very much, Sakin. It is very much clear there can never be social cohesion in South Africa as long as our people are still living in these kind of conditions and they still do not have access to their land. If you hear the cries that are here, the indigenous people of Western Cape, the Khoi and the San, they are crying for their land that were both denied by the DA and the ANC collectively. what they normally do. Just yesterday, they have shot 2 protesters in Caledon to death because of fighting for services, because of fighting for land. They have done the same thing in Hermanas. They have done the same thing here in Hout Bay. There can never be social cohesion as long as our people are still living in this kind of disparities under the ANC and the DA. They are combined in this whole vulnerability of our people.
Let's get the ANC and then I come back to you.
My family was dispossessed and evicted. We on the Cape Flats know that we were moved by apartheid. Now we're still being evicted by the DA. We understand the plight of our people on the Cape Flats. We as the ANC have been fighting with the people of community here in Hout Bay. Our ANC is actively involved in resisting the evictions here in Grabouw, farm workers everywhere. The ANC's policy is very clear. We will make land available for our people to build housing. We will ensure that well-located land in the city is made available for social housing. We say stop gentrification, stop high rates for our people in the poor areas. We want to ensure, give the ANC a chance. The ANC has not been in government here. That's why we support the local struggles here in Western Cape. We have not been in government for the past eight months. The ANC will deliver housing because we care for our people.
All right. No. Okay.
I need to correct this line.
We're going to cross back to Johannesburg just for a few minutes to get a news update for a few minutes. And then we come back and we get straight back into it. So it's back to the studio.